Okay, we're down here at anvil level. Show you how we're going to do this, okay? Now, something you may want to do, okay, you can see how tiny this trunnion is, okay, and how small the hole is in this cap and how dinky these needle bearings are. All this is assembly grease. This is just to keep, if some way the cap came off, the grease gives the needle bearings a fighting chance of staying in the cap, and this is to keep it from rusting. This is not adequate lubrication to put this joint in and run it down the road. And this is what I see over and over and over again from hack mechanics, is that they'll take a joint right out of the box and say, oh, look at that, it's already got grease in it, and then they'll put it in and then never touch the thing with a grease gun again. I've seen more people that piss and cry about U-joints not having grease fittings that wouldn't grease one if their life depended on it. Okay, and if you go to the trouble of putting greasable joints in your drive shaft, the least you can do is grease it. And another thing that I hear all the time is a guy will come in with a drive shaft and it had greasable joints in it and they weren't greased. And I say, you didn't grease the joints. It's like, well, that can't be. Every time I have the oil change, they give me a full lube. No, they don't. Okay, if you take it to a Jiffy Lube or someplace like that, if you won't stand right there and watch them, they're going to change your oil. They're going to charge you for a full lube, or they're going to say it's included. It's not. Okay, they're not going to grease it. You need to get under there and grease. I've never once said to a customer, you know what, that drive shaft would have been fine, but you greased it too much. Okay, too much is never enough. Grease that thing until it's pouring out. Okay. Got our yoke, got our joint. Now, you're going to want to take all 4 caps off, because you don't want to be juggling any more of this thing than you really have to, and set them aside someplace where they're safe. And let's see, I've got the grease fitting. Yeah, I got the grease fitting. Point, it's not dependent on any one cross. So slide the joint in there, okay, and all the way up as far as it'll go. Now take your cap and start it on that cross. Okay, now this is where things get a little bit tricky, because you've got to hold the joint and keep the thing aligned while you take the socket and tap it down into place. And I do mean tap, because this is got to be ginger to get it started. I mean, I've got an arbor press I could do this in just as well, but I'm reasonably confident you don't have one, so come on. See, and this is what you got to be worried about. You see how that joint wants to jump out of there every time I hit that? You're going to do that. That joint's going to jump out and those needles are going to fall over, and that's going to be bad news. Okay, so you got to keep an eye on this. Now, right now, it looks like the whole cap is actually cocked this way a little bit, so I'm going to try to hit it strong on this side. Oh, there it goes. You'll hear and feel it when it starts to go in there. Okay, so now we're pressed in good shape. Okay, and you can see the snap ring groove, and you can see we're almost in place where it wants to be. We want to go a little bit farther, but don't go so far that it comes all the way out the other side, because that's going to be a pain. So we're just going to tap that through a little bit more. Okay, now, because what we want to do is then we just get that, we've got that all the way in there, and you can actually see daylight, through here. So this is about as far as we can poke that through. You want to go too far this way, because you want to have enough of this trunnion to slide out so you can start the other cap without disengaging it from the needles on this side. Another thing I recommend, I get away from it a bit, but usually I go and smear a bunch of grease on the inside of this. It helps keep the cap, it keeps the keeps the needle bearings upright, so they're less likely to fall over on you. And plus, it's a little bit of lubrication in the event that this thing doesn't properly lubricate when you put it together. Okay, so we're going to slide the joint over and start the other cap. That didn't feel good. There it goes. Okay. So now we've got it halfway in between. We're supporting both sets of needle bearings. Okay. Get my good punch. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to put our snap ring on. Okay, now these snap rings are really strong. So we're going to actually take the punch. See if I can push them on there like this. No? Okay. Here's how we're going to do this. Here's how I do this, but I didn't want to show you how to do it this way. Take the hammer. Okay. Just like that. That's just no more than I was hitting that. Now, if you've got a snap ring that doesn't want to go all the way into the groove, don't put anything on it. Like if it's in there right now and you just want to move it a little more, don't put anything on it and hit that, because it's spring steel and it's going to tweak it and it's going to lose